Hey everybody, welcome back to Doc's Autos. Today we are taking a one-year review of our 2012 BMW X3, so stay tuned. Alright, welcome back to the channel. A long-time dream from mine has been to own a BMW, and way back in the late 90s I actually put down an order for a custom 3 Series, manual transmission, all the trimmings, and I thought everything was set to go. And when the vehicle finally arrived, the dealer came back and said, well, we'd like your trade plus $5,000. And that really wasn't going to work for me at the time, so I kind of gave up that dream and went off and wound up with a 1996 Lincoln Continental. Granted, great car, giant land yacht, smooth ride, but it was no BMW. The dream for finally owning a BMW came last year when I started digging around Copart, and I was looking for some project cars just to, occupy myself and have some fun. So this came home from a Copart auction with front end damage. Front end was broken, removed, parts were destroyed. No airbags had been deployed, so that was something I was really looking for. And even though it had been in 2 minor collisions, the damage was minor and the insurance company had just written it off after the second collision. While the vehicle does come with a salvage title, it is mechanically sorted, and aside from a few cosmetic issues, it looks pretty good. There's the little dimple in the hood here, one up in front, and then the quarter panel or the fender on the driver's side has a few little creases in it that are very difficult to see unless you're really looking for them. So by and large, this is a great car and it's been put back together quite well. For an average daily driver, I use this going to and from daycare, going to get groceries. It's perfect for me, so it doesn't have to be show car quality. If you follow the rebuild series on this last winter, I replaced the air cowl behind the bumper, the brake duct, some of the other ducting, the crash bar, and one of the headlights actually, the tabs were broken off, so using some plastic welding, I was able to put that back together, and it's actually held out better than I expected for the last year. It's driven almost every day, warm weather, cold weather, bumpy roads, and really I'm surprised that plastic welding has held on as long as it did. Basically, these are the adaptive headlights, and replacing those, used market was about $1,000 and new is upwards of $1,700 when I looked at least last year. So the parts that did have to be replaced, the plastic cowlings, the crash bar, whatnot, I was able to find the actual OE BMW parts for about $700 online through various places. Some of them came from a couple of BMW dealers across the states, a couple of them off of eBay. But at the end of the day, everything that was back in here is an actual BMW branded part. It's nothing off-market, off-brand. The estimate from a repair shop to have these done was about $4,000, and I'm guessing, given the 2 collisions that were present last year, right before I got the vehicle, I'm guessing that's why the insurance company ended up totaling it out. When I brought it home, some of the parts that were damaged behind the bumper did not look like they were damaged from the most recent accident. So that kind of leads me to believe the first repair was maybe not done the way it should have been done. And then the second accident was kind of the icing on the cake for the insurance company just writing out that vehicle, especially I think both accidents were within about 6 months of each other. When I brought the car home, it had just over 70,000 miles on it, and now it's got just over 85,000 miles on the clock. One of the first things we needed was a new set of tires on it, just general maintenance. This does have the run flats on it, and I know a lot of BMW owners choose to get rid of those due to road noise and ride. I kept them. We don't have a spare tire, and living out in the country, didn't seem very wise to travel without a spare, especially when I'm going to and from daycare with kids. Outside of general maintenance, like replacing the original battery from 2012, I replaced the gasket for the Valvetronic motor. That was weeping oil lightly and would drip onto the exhaust intermittently. Just recently, there was a leak on the coolant expansion tank. It's kind of intermittent, but I ordered the parts and it's since stopped leaking for now, but to be safe, I'm going to replace it. That'll be in the next video. I figured just to be better to be safe than sorry. This is the inline 3-liter 6-cylinder engine, and it's been a blast to drive. It's not the turbo, not the 35i, just the 28, but it's been really fun to drive. It's fun and sporty and nimble. My main goal was to try and balance out fuel economy and fun, and this gets me about 25, 26 miles to the gallon, which is double what I got in our pickup, which was my daily driver, the 05 F350 dually with the Power Stroke. For my needs, running to daycare, running into town for errands and groceries, I decided this was a great option versus the third generation of the X3 series. Overall, the X3 has been a very comfortable ride. While it doesn't have the premium seats like the X5 M Sport that I bid on last year, it's far better than our Ford Power Stroke dually that used to be my daily driver. Overall, it's pretty smooth. Maybe not quite as smooth as the Outback, but I think that this does have its advantages in some areas. Again, it's sporty, a little bit quieter for road noise, and the 8-speed transmission is smooth and responsive, and when the engine runs about 2,000 RPMs, you just kind of glide along at cruising speed. It's pretty easy if you're not using cruise to end up going, let's just say, a little bit over the posted speed limit. Again, the quiet ride, the little bit of road noise and engine noise, you can end up going, well, I may have found myself going almost triple digits on occasion. So if you go ahead and set the cruise, you're going to be just fine and stay out of trouble. Living out in the country, we often have some challenging roads, especially in the winter. Ice, snow, drifts, and so far the X3 has been excellent in this area. I feel it outperforms our Outback a little bit, just in terms of the all-wheel drive and handling. Just a little bit quicker for response and more aggressive for detecting wheel slip and managing the traction to where it needs to be. Inside the vehicle, there's a bunch of amenities. It pretty much has power everything: heated seats, steering wheel, panoramic sunroof, infotainment system, a great audio setup. This doesn't have the heads-up display, the adaptive driving package and whatnot, but it's still a very comfortable experience. This particular vehicle came with the center console module for your iPod, and with a little trimming I was able to make my iPod video fit in there, so a little older than what it was designed for, but it does give me the opportunity to keep all my wires and cables out of sight and have access to my 10,000 plus collection of songs while cruising around. It does, of course, also have all the Bluetooth stuff for hands-free phone operation and for streaming audio, so I can also listen to something off my phone if need be. Going back to my first car was an '86 Buick Estate Wagon, and then an Audi. Both of those had pretty decent custom audio systems in it, so I may have shattered at least one window and have been scolded from my parents for being able to hear me a half mile away. But I can still hear oddly. So I've kind of become spoiled with rich and full sound systems, especially, thumping bass. And while the factory systems you hear in most any car today won't stop your heart from beating or blow out your eardrums, this is far more than enough to keep me happy. It's crisp, it's clear, the lows are rich, there is a subwoofer in it, and for me, it's just fine. Again, I've got kids in the car, so we really don't need to damage their hearing either. Generation 2 with the jog wheel does work great. Some folks are not too keen on the user interface or how it all works, but for me it works pretty much just fine. The Gen 3s have the jog wheel actually has touch input on it, so you can write in the address to where you're going or the number to dial. But again, for me, it's not a huge deal. One of the items in particular for this vehicle that stuck out to me that I really liked was these sunshades for the back seats. So having a couple of car seats back here, it's a lot easier to use these than to stick up those window clings or anything else that prevents you from using the rear window. The only other thing that would have been better is the premium packages. These are electric, so you can control those from the front, I believe. So while it's kind of a neat little add-on, this certainly works for us just perfect. On top of all the other goodies that come factory, there's so many other coding or features you can unlock or change, and with that I use my Carly device. Anything from configuring features such as door unlock, your comfort access to roll up or down the windows or sunroof, those can be managed with Carly. If you're doing vehicle maintenance at home, your oil change reset, your brake reset, you can manage that as well, all by plugging in the little Carly device to your OBD2 port and using the app on your phone. You can check out below my link for your own Carly device there. A lot of these options are things you'd only have access to do from a dealer. They aren't available through the configuration screen in your infotainment system. So again, lots of other options can be found and programmed here. And also, if you do get a check engine light to come on, or any of your other multitude of lights from the BMW, which at some point in time you'll end up seeing, you can read those codes too and look up exactly what they mean and how to fix them. So if you're handy with a wrench, you can often take care of those yourself for a fraction of what it would cost to go to a dealer. You know, overall, this has been a great vehicle. While my driving currently is mostly limited to taking kids to and from daycare and getting some groceries from town, it has taken some longer trips across the region, and I've been completely happy with the car, both in how it handles, how it drives, and the performance. You know what, all in all, this has been a great car for us. The intent is to keep it until I can find my unicorn at Copart and rebuild that. That's the 2015 X5 M Sport with all the trimming, like the collision avoidance, the heads-up display, the million-way power seats, third row seating, you know, all that stuff. That's kind of the car I found last year and fell in love with it, but was outbid on it. So, you know, if you're up for a little bit of work, I think finding anything from the salvage yards, if you go and look at it first, can be a really good find. I don't advise bidding anything sight unseen. You just don't know what you're going to end up with. But if you go and do a walk around, start it, poke around a little bit, and know what you're getting into, I think you can find some really great deals at a really great price. And I hadn't really explored that route until, you know, about a year ago. And you know, going out to Copart a couple of times, looking at vehicles, getting familiar with that process, and ultimately finding this car. And that 2007 has kind of led me to where I am now, being able to achieve one of my goals in life. So, you know, it's taken nearly 20 years, but I finally own myself a BMW. Thank you for checking out this video. Don't forget to subscribe below. We've got more content coming to you weekly, and we'll catch you in the next video. Take care.